Hey friends, this is Ifa. Welcome to another reading journal update. I'll be starting making this spread straight away. This time I'm a little late to update my reading journal for August. I know, but it's a little difficult for me to get used to update my reading journal monthly. Since I started reading journal updates quarterly from the beginning, it's getting harder for me to keep up with the monthly setups. But from the third quarter, especially from July, I thought I should go with monthly reading journal updates because I was reading at least 3 books monthly and it might be difficult for me to update a lot of books in one video or in one go. As I always make larger spreads, so I thought it should be much more easier to go with monthly, and here I am. I will start with the cover page as always. If you're here for a while, you know that I make cover pages for each of the startings of any kind of sections, like quarterly or monthly. So I'll be making monthly cover page for this August reading journal setup, and for this month's cover page I'm going to use these stationery collections that I got from Anna of Paper Monogatari, and she was very kind to send me both of her latest collections. For this cover page, I'm going to use the Botanist Diary collection. There are some washi papers with beautiful patterns on it, a lot of die-cut stickers, cutouts, and sticker sheets, and there are 3 washi tapes into this whole set. I was kind of saving this for my December reading journal, but I was thinking that I should use them here when I'm making my August setup because it's definitely going to be very late if I use them for December, and definitely I didn't have anything to start off for the August spread. That's why I thought I should blindly just go with this collection and make a larger collage out of it. So that's why I don't have to think much and create a big collage into this spread. This cover page is going to be a little different because the cover page that I am making here is far different from the last cover pages that I made. When I started my reading journal, I didn't have any particular pages, styles, or layouts so far, so I thought I should try different layout, and all of a sudden I thought I should go and mix the title page or the cover page with the dashboard spread together. Basically, I will be making a huge collage in the middle in this spread. So at first I'm using this washi paper of this beautiful pattern on it to create a background column in the left. For the right side, I'm going to use some pattern papers as a background, and then I'll be using this large plant clear sticker on the top. For the title, I'm going to go with a very simple calligraphy font with my Tombow Fudonosuke Heart Tip brush pen, and to cover up a larger space, I have gone for this large title. For the dashboard, as in where this space I write the book names and the author names together, I'll be using this label sticker and 2 frame cutouts. I have a lot of vintage stationeries in my collection, so I wanted to go with some stamps here as well, so I'm using this. But basically I really wanted to go with the Botanist to make it the prior stationeries because all of these stationeries were very cohesive and I didn't want to go with too much variant on it. I really wanted to go with this whole collection and explore something new, so I really didn't have anything planned for this whole spread and go with whatever I was thinking. And as you can see, I was struggling to cut out the pet tip here because I'm very bad with the X-Acto knife here, as you can see. As you can see, the collage was looking a little clumsy while I was making it because in the first place I didn't visualize the collage at all, and then I just randomly gone with all of these stationeries at once. But I think it looks much nicer after finishing the whole spread. I used a white sticker paper to make some white spaces to write on into the middle of this middle frame, and in the bottom frame I placed the frame cutout on a top of a white sticker paper as well, and then I stick them on the notebook. I think it makes much easier for me to stick them on the notebook because the glue stick I always use doesn't feel nice for me to use in this kind of collages, and sometimes I really feel that I need to buy a roller glue again because sometimes I make the collage much more messier with the glue stick, and having the glue or the stickiness in my hand, that makes me feel very weird and gooey when I make this kind of collages with this glue stick. So that's it for this whole cover page, and I'll be making my review spread for 3 books that I have read in August. The first book that I've read is As Long as the Lemon Tree Grows by Zulfa Khattab. This book touched my heart because she portrayed how much mental and physical strength needs to live in a war zone. Right now, whatever going into this world is very similar to the story of this book, and it's basically a story about the Syrian civil war and how the characters tackle the painful reality and live on. I found the writer brought up the actual life of a Syrian girl like the other girls in the world and how it was before and after the war. I don't want to spoil this story for you, and I would just recommend you to read it because it's a lot to know from this book. It was a little painful for me to read this in July because you know what's going on in my country, so I stopped read it in the early chapters and started it again in August. Definitely I am giving it a 5 star because the whole book is very well written. Anyways, for the decoration, I'm using the stickers from Paper Monogatari's last year's summer collection, and I wanted to use these lemon stickers here, and I've saved them for a long time to use this for this book because it matches with the book name and the cover pages. So these are the last pieces from that collection, and I'll be using all of them here. I'm using the washi tape from the washi tape shop again. I think they don't have them in their shop anymore, so I cannot give you the link or the name of this tape, but I don't know why all of these books that I've read so far has blue into it, and I have to search for so many blue stationaries for my reading journal, and definitely I don't have much blue stationery collections. So I really had to go with the same thing over and over again. Even though I started to buy blue stationery from different artists, and I thought it will support them a bit. And also I can collect these lovely stationery in my collection and use them in my journals. For the title here, I'm using the alphabet stamps, and I'm going to go with this chrome yellow color to make the whole header. And I have sort of loved this lettering style and how it turned out into this spread. Definitely it was very fun to write on this spread, and recently I got a new fountain pen ink and refill my fountain pen from Platinum Stars, and I was very happy to write with this pen again, and it's been always the regular pen to write in my journals. That's it for this spread, and I really like how this spread turned out with minimal decoration and a lot of writing on it. Here in the right column I put some keywords and some things about the author, the genre, to keep myself updated with the bullet points and remind me the plot or the genre of the book. So that's it for this spread, and the next spread or the next book that I've read is Murder in the Drawing Room from C.J. Archer's Cleopatra Fox mystery series, and this is the third book from this series. I've been reading this series since May, and I was into this series, but so far the stories of murders and solving the cases are getting very similar at this point, and I wasn't enjoying that thing of this book because it was very similar to the last book and the book I read in the first place. But I kept reading this series so far because I wanted to know what happened to the main characters from this series, which is Cleopatra and her friend Harry, and also her whole family. So yeah, it's getting interested in her family, not the murder cases that she's solving. I hope you understand what I was talking about. So, spoiler alert, because I don't want to give you too much spoilers on it. But if you don't want to get any spoilers, just go to the next section so that you don't have any spoilers if you're going to read this book. This story is basically a girl started to stay with her aunt's family in a hotel, and she just involved into some murders on London nearby the hotel, and then she was solving the murders after she solved one case that occurred in the hotel, and later she became a private detective and works with the police sometimes. Basically, in the story, there is a politician whose wife got into scandals, and Cleopatra starts to investigate in her private life at first, and then she got murdered. Then it started to go with a murder mystery case, and both of the characters, like the lead characters, Cleopatra and Harry, starts to solve the case collectively. And I cannot tell you further because it's little interesting if you want to know who's the murderer, but it's basically very easy to guess who it can be. So I didn't bother much, and I was just reading so far. I was just reading to know what happened to Harry and Cleopatra in the end, but yeah, it's still ongoing in the series and I'm still reading it. So let's talk about the stationeries that I used here. So for the decoration of this spread, I wanted to go with some orange stationery like this washi tape, which I used earlier in the cover page, and then I've used some stickers which are from my summer collection, and definitely they look cohesive with the cover of the book. That's why I'm using these orange colored stickers here. But another thing is, the most of the books I've read has blue and orange into it, so all of these spreads are very similar, and I don't enjoy to use blue and orange so much. So here I'm just using this dark teal color with chrome orange. I'm giving it 4 star for now, but definitely I didn't like this book or the second book from this series as much as I like the first one, but I'm reading further into this series so far, and I'm kind of liking the later books from the second or third books more. So that's it for this book. Next comes the third book that I read in August is Sugar, Spice and Can't Play Nice, written by Anika Sharma, and this is the second book of the series. I've read the first book already, but I'm not planning to read the third book yet. If I don't find anything to read, I will get the third one to read it if that's not too large or long story. It's kind of similar to the first book, but it's much nicer than the first book because this time it's basically a Bollywood movie again, but definitely I found some spices and some stories here so that I can go along and finish the book. There's some stories that was pushing me through the whole book, and basically it's just a love story with some twist. So I like the story a bit more than the first one. I'm not going to tell you much because if you know about the books from Indian writers or stories from Indian authors, it's basically, I found them very similar and you might know what the end will be. I'm not going to tell you much because it's going to be a very big spoiler if I talk about it. And yeah, let's talk about the decorations here in this book. And here in this cover of this book have subtle blue color and pink here in the dress of a girl. So I've gone with some pink, purple and some blue into this spread. I'm going to use this sticker sheet which has this seashells on it, which is basically from my summer collection, and I found this very cohesive with the colors I wanted to go with, so I picked them out. And also I'm using the Afternoon in Paris collection from Paper Monogatari's this year's Summer Comes Rainy collection, and I really like how these stationeries comes together. I really like how this whole spread turned out with this blue, purple, pink on it, and I love how this whole thing turned out as a summer spread because it was summer in August and definitely I was late anyway. So I really like how this whole three spreads turned out, but not the cover page because the cover page is not my favorite. I could do much more better. These three spreads for the book reviews were very good in my sense, and I've enjoyed making these spreads a lot. And if you don't know, I make these spreads instant just by collecting all of these stationaries and just go whatever I want to do. I don't think much like when I do my bullet journals because bullet journals are basically a piece of my art, and these spreads are just collaging everything here in this journal, and I don't think too much when I make them. So yep. Before we go to see the whole flip through, let's just see the books that I've read so far. And here in 2024 until August, I've read 12 books already, and I'm very happy about the results I was going for because I had a goal to read 20 books in this year. But I'm very glad that at this point I've gone through more than a half from the goal I've set, and I have read a lot in September too. So the next September reading update is going to be this month, so soon. So I'm very excited to share the books that I've read in September, and I think the September reads is so far my favorite because I've read a lot of interesting stories in September. Now this is the time to see the final flip through of this whole setup, and this is definitely one of my favorite spreads so far, as I've already told you, and I had a lot of fun to make these spreads, but the cover page is not my favorite. So that's it for this whole video. I hope I'll see you in my next video because the next video is going to be a very fun and one of my favorite time when I set up a bullet journal for the next month. Stay tuned and have a lovely day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.